Welcome back, everybody. Now, Pride Month is often observed in October, the same month in which the first South African Pride Parade was held in Johannesburg on the 13th of October 1990. Now, 33 years later, Pride offers a moment of acute reflection on this history and an opportunity to orientate ourselves in relation to the current struggles and triumphs. Many continue to experience hardships related to their queer identities. And to share more on how far the queer community has come over the years and what more needs to be done, we're joined by Cedrick Diphoko, the Managing Director at Bathu. Cedrick, a very good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. Good to have you on the show this morning. Let's talk about, the attitudes towards homosexuality and gender nonconformity in South Africa. Do you think people have, advanced in terms of their attitude towards such?
I think so. I think there's been a great revolution in South Africa with people accepting diversity and inclusion. Mm-hmm. And as a business, that's what we stand for. One of our business values is diversity and inclusion, mm-hmm. And that's why we don't want to do it just by talking about it, but we want to be practical, action it, and showcase to South Africa and in Africa at large that we are the business that celebrates diversity and inclusion.
So how does the business celebrate, inclusion? I mean, in an era in South Africa where some human rights, such as the gay rights, are being stifled?
So what we decided to do is host a luncheon, right, with all the different peoples that celebrate diversity and inclusion. People in the community, they were there, we hosted them for a lunch. We don't have credentials to talk about the social ills, but what we have credentials in is to inspire the journey, to ignite the journey, and to celebrate the journey of authenticity. So we are that business that wants to celebrate the journey with them. We want to celebrate the authenticity, and we want to just say, you know what, cheers for doing the work that you're doing, cheers for being impactful in the community, and cheers for staying true to who you are.
It's quite interesting that to say that you don't have the credentials to talk about the social ills. I mean, it boggles the mind as to why would you have credentials to speak out about social ills affecting every individual?
You know what? The credentials that we have, right, is about unemployment. So the business was started with the ethos of bridging the gap of unemployment in South Africa. Okay. And that is why we are a youth-based business. We employ predominantly above 300 people, that is youth-based. And we did the research, across the globe, South Africa has the highest unemployment rate in the world, and in Africa, it's sitting at number 2 within youth. So what we then decided as a business, we then said that let us strengthen our proposition within unemployment, and let us strengthen our proposition being a premium sneaker brand that all Africans can proudly affiliate with. So those are the credentials that we have, but we don't have the credentials of social ills and the different challenges that people within the community are facing. But what we know how to do is just embrace diversity, embrace inclusion, and just to equip and say to the people, live your truth. Be authentic to who you are, and we are here to celebrate that with you.
Then in as much as you say that you don't have the credentials to address the social ills, but then what role are you playing in terms of, talking about the social challenges that every South African is facing? So
we have partnered with Lesizwe, as I said, before we went live. We partnered with Lesizwe, who's one of our brand advocates, and we're doing compelling work with him. We've got a CSI drive, right, that talks about donating school shoes. Yes. So we want to bridge the gap of inequalities within our schools. We realize that people don't have school shoes. School shoes can take away a child's confidence. So what we do is that we give authenticated leather school shoes to every impoverished community. We've donated about 75,000 school shoes across the country. Yeah, that's what we do. We're very practical about what we stand for, and we're really, really intentional about making an impact in different local communities and societies.
And I see that when you worked in the PR space, you engaged a lot with, with brands, and currently work for one. So what are they doing, insofar as making the LGBTQ community, feeling not feeling left out?
Yeah, so I was privileged to work in an agency, DNA Brand Architects, and I worked with different brands, and brands are really, really living their proposition. I know, like for Tastic had a partnership with Laduma, they had a partnership with David Lale. When they celebrated heritage with him, they celebrated who he is, his textures, his fabrics, and what it gives him inspiration to create his garments that he presents, So I know that brands are doing what they can do to communicate their brand propositions and what they do for the different communities.
Okay, and what do citizens then have to do in terms of addressing these challenges?
Just accept diversity and accept inclusion, that we are all as one, People must be given freedom of expression, freedom of speech, and freedom to live their true sense. They must just accept diversity and inclusion.
And it seems that it's a high mountain to climb. What then needs to happen? Who needs to, enforce the fact that people need to be allowed to embrace who they are?
I think it starts with educating the people.
Sure.
That every single person has a right to be themselves. If you and I drive the education and you and I drive what it is to be within the community, that it's a choice that people make, and people must be given the liberty to live the life that they want to live.
All right. Lovely chatting to you, Cedrick.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Well, the challenges, of course, may be many and may be large when it comes to LGBTQI+ rights these days. So we just spoke to Cedrick Diphoko, the Managing Director at Bathu.